of favorites, a longtime franchise favorite, might be available as a free agent sometime soon. Doug Smith of the Toronto Star reporting that the Toronto Raptors are nearing a potential trade of Goran Dragic. Not sure to whom, not sure to which franchise. They might be even willing to include a first round pick just to be able to take Goran's salary off the books because they are over the salary cap and paying the luxury tax, something that they are averse to do. And so they're looking to trade Goran's contract as quickly as possible. And then Mark Stein, formerly of ESPN and others, said that it looks like whatever team does acquire Goran Dragic is likely to arrange a buyout with the former Slovenian point guard, Miami Heat Slovenian point guard, which would make him effectively a free agent. And then you double checked with longtime friend of the podcast, Keith Smith, a Celtics fan who's probably very happy right now following that game against the Heat. And he said he did confirm something that we had thought, which is that if Goran Dragic is traded to another team and then bought out as a free agent, he is a complete free agent, which means he could even rejoin the Miami Heat as a potential option. So you and I started talking about it, and we're here to kind of explore the issue a little bit further. And I guess the first question that comes up is, do you think a reunion is possible for the Miami Heat?
Well, it is possible. I don't know to what percentage it's possible. It might be more of like a Jim Carrey, so you're saying there's a chance. Is that Jim Carrey?
It is. Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a type of chance, but to just sort of clarify, had the Raptors just bought out Goran Dragic, he couldn't re-sign with the Heat for a calendar year, but because he'd be traded to a third team, the Heat, the Raptors, and then a third team, if he were to be bought out, then that calendar year stipulation is erased. It doesn't matter. And so he's, like you said, free to go anywhere he wants, even Miami. And of course, I know a lot of Heat fans might have that memory of Goran Dragic being at the arena for the Heat game on Friday night before his team, the Raptors, were supposed to play Saturday night. He was there for the Clippers game Friday night, just cheering on his old team, it seems. Well, and so, is there still love between Goran Dragic and the Miami Heat? I think very clearly there is. And even Dragic, after getting traded, was very complimentary of the Heat, very understanding of why they made the move and all these things. It doesn't really seem like there are any hard feelings after the split. But I don't think it's likely that there's a reunion in the cards here, because the fact of the matter is I don't know how much playing time Goran Dragic would get in Miami. All the things that he did in Miami were great, but he's not the same player he was even 2 years ago during the bubble. That much has been clear. And defensively, the same concerns that plagued the Heat in the playoffs last year would still be there. So can you play Goran Dragic next to Tyler Herro off the bench? I don't know. I don't think you can in a playoff matchup. Can you play him next to Duncan Robinson in certain situations? No, I don't think you could. Not in high stakes type of environments, because defensively they're just a little too soft at the point of attack, and they can get targeted off of switches and things like that. That's the reason they went out and got Kyle Lowry in the first place. And because of all of that, are we sure Goran Dragic would get minutes over Gabe Vincent, who's been awesome for them lately and is better defensively right now than Dragic is? And by the way, you're not missing a whole lot of scoring lately with Gabe Vincent. Would Goran Dragic be great in the locker room? Would he be willing to accept any role with Miami? Absolutely. 100% he would. If he really wants to come back to Miami and live in Miami and just be back in South Florida, yeah, that would be maybe the only reason he signs with the Heat after a buyout. But there are reports right now out of The Athletic from Mark Stein himself on his Substack that you should subscribe to and read because he's good. The Ringer saying like, hey, the Lakers could be interested in Goran Dragic. The Clippers could be interested in Goran Dragic. LA Sunshine, very similar. And you know what they have that the Heat don't? Minutes at point guard. He could start for them at point guard depending on what goes down. So I don't know.
Let's break that down. Okay, so I think, and we're totally supposing here what Goran is thinking. Mm-hmm. What is his ultimate goal here? And I don't think it's playing time. Like, he's accomplished enough as an individual player. I don't think he was willing to accept a 6-man role here in Miami. He certainly was willing to accept it during the 5 games in which he played for the Toronto Raptors. I think he understands that he's towards the tail end of his career. All he wants to do is win. He's not going to win with the Clippers. He might win some with the Lakers, depending on what they were able to accomplish. If they get healthy, if they make a trade, if they're able to, of course, get the very best of LeBron James and Anthony Davis for a deep postseason run. But who knows? I think their path is certainly a little bit more difficult. I think if he wants to win a championship, I would say that there's a pretty good chance maybe he would join the Brooklyn Nets or a team like that, maybe in the Eastern Conference. But if you're going to do that, well, why not take a spot with a team that you know best? That if you're just going to be the 14th or 15th guy on the bench, and you know you have a comfort level with Jimmy Butler, with all the other guys on this team, etc. Why wouldn't you take a role with this team? I think his ultimate goal is winning a championship, and if that's the case, Miami has as good a chance as anybody. Realistically, I don't think maybe I don't even think there's a spot for him in Phoenix unless they cut Alfred Payton. I guess they would have to do so in order to acquire
Yeah.
Goran Dragic. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a possibility. He could
Yeah.
kind of fix a relationship there that went south and went sour pretty bad. He had a start to his career there. He had the best years perhaps of his career in
Dallas?
Phoenix.
I mean,
There's
there's been that
the opportunity.
connection.
Sure,
Mavericks are solid. I think what he'll do is obviously, I think, wait until after the trade deadline because first of all, he might not get traded until the trade deadline. That even
sure.
though these reports are a week out, but Jalen Brunson could get traded from Dallas. There's been some rumors about that because they might not want to pay him as a restricted free agent this summer. And if that's the case, they're going to have a huge need for backup
Wow,
point guard,
maybe. Yeah.
or starting point guard, depending on what alignment they go on. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of options. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm waving off the Heat possibility too easily. I thought for sure he would want playing time, but you might be right. Maybe he's just looking to take a ride to a championship. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the way he's always spoken so glowingly about Miami Heat culture, and then even just talking about South Florida and the comfort level for his family here, etc. I don't think he wants to move anywhere else. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. Like he's even been working out here over the last
Yeah.
month or so. I know he spent some time in Slovenia, but I mean, now that he's back in the States, he was working out at the FTX Arena just like old times, and it could kind of just slide right in there. Now, you and I also talked about what it would take in order for him to do so. He can't just sign a two-way contract like Kyle Guy because of his veteran experience. He would have to get a prorated contract for the rest of the season, which means that you would probably have to clear some salary cap space, maybe sending out KZ Okpala for a second round, along with a second round pick that might never convey or something along those lines,
I think it
just to
would
clear up.
more likely be Markieff Morris, only because when you really get down to brass tacks, Markieff Morris, his minimum is worth more than KZ's because he has more experience in the league. And
Right.
so and obviously he hasn't played for Miami. They don't really necessarily need Markieff Morris. I think he'd be helpful, obviously, but yeah, I think that would be the case. Even if you were to, let Chris Silva's 10-day expire, you're still looking at a prorated minimum. Now, the Heat could let Silva's 10-day expire. You still need to promote Caleb Martin. The Heat will not just let Silva expire, sign Dragic at the end of March to a prorated minimum, just tell basically Dragic, hey, hold tight for a month and a couple of weeks and we'll sign you.
Right. Right.
Because if you don't promote Caleb Martin to the 15-man roster, if you basically give Goran Dragic that spot, then Caleb Martin is not eligible for the postseason. He wouldn't be able to
Right.
play in the playoffs. So that's not an option. They would have to clear a spot. Most likely it would be either KZ or Markieff. They would explore their options, but there's ways to do that. They could just attach money, just cash money, not even a pick. Sometimes teams will just do that for cash.
Yeah.
They could find a way to do it, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm all for it, man. You know me. This
Sure.
season's been nothing about good vibes, and I think bringing back a guy like Goran with that comfort level, his friendship with Jimmy and others on that roster, I think it would be great. Just a nice chance for him to be able to continue winning towards the tail end of his career. If he's going to call it a career at some point soon, and it's likely that he will, why not do so with a team that he had some incredible success with and some long-lasting friendships and relationships with? So, in any case, we'll move on. We'll wrap up today's episode, and then, of course, we'll be recapping tomorrow's game against the Toronto Raptors. Hopefully, that won't be a triple overtime loss. Thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Remember that every episode is always free and available wherever you get the show. So make sure you subscribe to get the best coverage available. Make sure to also check out Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all of your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, and expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. This is David Ramil signing off for now. Thanks so much for joining me, Wes.
Wrap it up, E.